Hey everyone! Today we are going to explore some of the puzzling parts of Black Myth Wukong, especially those parts that might be confusing for players who are not familiar with the cultural background of Journey to the West. I'll be sharing insights from the perspective of someone who grew up with this culture, revealing what we can perceive and understand. We'll focus a lot on how the game relates to the original Journey to the West and its 1986 TV adaptation. If you are interested in the backstory of the game, watching this one is a great option. It's available with English sub or English dub. I'll put the link below. Admittedly, the visual effects and some aspects of the script are really dated by today's standards. However, the series stays quite true to the original text, providing a comprehensive framework of the Journey to the West story. Watching it before playing Black Myth Wukong could greatly enhance your gaming experience. Before we dive in, a quick heads up for those who haven't played the game yet. This video contains major spoilers. Okay, let's go. I'll explain details and hidden messages in these animations. I will also point out the significance behind certain confusing elements and share some cool Easter eggs and hidden details only noticeable to those familiar with the story, such as who the women are in Zhubajie's animations, the timeline of the Bull King and Sun Wukong animations, what's the deal of the court in Webbed Hollow, what happened to the fourth sister, and we will clarify the characters from chapter 1 to 6.
Monkey. What's it like out there? Beyond these mountains?
Okay, let's take a look at something that Chinese players are really excited about in the first second. The somersault cloud. The sound effect is from the opening scene of the 1986 TV adaptation. I'm sure many of you have already taken on the 4 giants in the secret ending. I believe their in-game appearances are inspired by the statues in Lingyun Temple. And the magical circlet headpiece. It's not a golden crown, by the way. It's something that the high aboves use to control their disobedient subordinates. They can simply speak the secret spell to tighten it, causing excruciating pain, and there is no way to take it off except them. It's from Rulai. Rulai gives it to Guanyin. Guanyin gives it to Tangsen. From this dude to them, and then Tangsen tricked Wukong to wear it. Which means that after Wukong successfully escorted his master to retrieve the scriptures, the high aboves did not fulfill their promise to remove the headpiece. It was a lie. Also, there are 3 headpieces in total, and I will point them out as they appear. We will skip most of the gameplay aspects and focus on the narrative. The game's storyline is designed to let players experience Journey to the West anew, but not just by retelling the original story, but by creating a new tale that follows the original timeline. There's a Chinese idiom that says, "Old wine in a new bottle," and this is exactly that. Before we dive in deeper, we firstly need to address a classic question in ancient Chinese culture. Are humans inherently good or evil? This is also mentioned in the game's trailer, and I believe that much of the game's narrative revolves around this concept.
Master, are there more good folks in the world or bad?
More good, of course.
Then why is there always suffering? And why do the bad folks always win?
Because goodness without teeth punishes not. It only foments evil. Cleanse the world with blood and grow lotuses in it. That is your destiny.
The first scene is a tribute to episode 3 of the TV adaptation, where you play as a naughty monkey, just like Wukong.
Home, reach death and ever grow. Huh? Here, you see what bliss my fate shows.
Luck's around the corner. Seems like you just fell from a fruit tree here.
Perfect timing. This peach knew I needed a snack. You sneaky rascal! Dare to fool me? I'll make sure you regret it!
In Chapter 1, there are some hidden details behind the 2 spells you learned, Immobilize and Cloud Step. In the story of the Keeper of Black Wing Mountain in the portraits, you can see that a mysterious figure who transforms into a Bodhi leaf when departing. That's the one who instructs the Keeper to pass these spells on to you.
Since you hail from Mount Huaguo,
This mysterious figure, suggested by the shape of Bodhi leaf, can be reasonably guessed to be Sun Wukong's mentor, known as the Bodhi Master. It was he who named Sun Wukong and taught him many things.
your lucky day.
Shame, your gourd serves little purpose, and mine answers so.
And you have met another mysterious figure who upgrades your gourd. We will discuss him further at the end of the video. But I'm certain that his appearance is a tribute to one of Sun Wukong's transformations in the TV adaptation. And here's your bartender, serving up ancient-style cocktail, drinking to heal. What a truth!
Here, here, young friend. Be my guest inside.
The story is around Elder Jinchi, who, driven by his desire for Tang Sen's kasaya, planned with his disciples Guangzhi and Guangmou to burn Tang Sen and Wukong alive. I won't go too deep into Guangzhi and Guangmou. You can read about them in their portraits. Their plan resulted in Elder Jinchi's own death, and the kasaya was stolen by the Black Bear guai and reclaimed by Guan Yin after them. In the current storyline, as we learn from the portraits of the Black Winged King, he is the Black Bear guai. He resurrected his old friend Lingji, but at the cost of sacrificing his wolf tribe. As a result, the original Lingji committed suicide shortly after being resurrected. The player only defeats a new successor who shares the same pronunciation, but has a different name. The Black Bear guai also attempted to resurrect Elder Jinchi, but failed, leaving him as a wandering wight haunting the mountains. That big head, a major challenge for players who are not familiar with action games. To meet Elder Jinchi, you need to ring 3 different bells, just as Wukong naughtily did in the past. From Elder Jinchi, you will get the fireproof mantle, which makes it easier to defeat the Black Bear guai. This is the same one that Wukong borrowed from the Celestial Palace to protect Tang Sen during the fire that Jinchi set. You can also see it in the scroll at the end of the chapter 1. And there is another mysterious character called White Clay Noble. He says he works for a big brother, and we will reveal who this big brother is in later chapters.
To what end do you seek?
Animation of chapter 1. It artistically simplifies the encounter between Elder Jinchi and Black Bear Guai. It shows how Black Bear Guai tried to buy his way into Buddhist faith with wealth, and how a young, impressionable Jinchi was negatively influenced by this from an early age. Throughout his growth, Jinchi envied other monks who own splendid kasayas. With the wealth from Black Bear Guai, he too became increasingly lavish, and his desire for luxury grew into greed. He collected hundreds of ornate kasayas. But ultimately, he obsessed with Tangsen's kasaya, led him to his doom. 修行路，无名气，翻动时，莫等闲。一生功名情如烟，最后人活在少年。最是萤火情失眠，看真知，看见。 Meanwhile, Wukong, aware of their plan, yet allowed the fire to happen, used only fireproof mantle to protect Tangsen, disregarding the lives of other monks, some of whom were accomplices. At that moment, Wukong also exhibited a hint of evil, bringing us back to the earlier question: are humans inherently good or evil? This example shows that even Wukong could be driven to evil acts.
Fire for that kasaya was merely the 11th.
Was Jinchi evil when he was a boy? I don't think he was that evil even when he owned hundreds of ornate kasayas. Come on, he just loved swaggy clothing. Who doesn't? Good and evil are but a moment's thought away. It was when he decided to burn them that he turned into that golem in The Lord of the Rings. And his evil was also induced by Wukong showing off Tangsen's kasaya.
Master, it still puzzles me. A monk's lust for gold should be quelled. Why does Elder Jinchi still cling to that one kasaya?
Bereft of that Kasaya, how shall they show the world their ties are cut and their lust is quelled?
Guan Yin's answer is about Jinchi's mentality. It's like when you tell other people, I could be the best basketball player, I just don't want to. No one will believe you unless you have actually achieved it. We can't say whether this mentality is right or wrong in itself. It's just that Jinchi directed in the wrong way. One best Kasaya cannot make him the best monk. Then the title of chapter 1, I see. I feel this reflects both Wukong's witness of the fire and suggests players that we need to pay attention to the boss's move during the battles. You all have met Banjo Guy in chapter 2. I'm not going to cover every boss and every hidden story. I will focus on the main storyline. There isn't much to say about the bosses in this chapter as they mostly related to gameplay. However, there is a huge story underlying characters' portraits. It begins with the portrait of the hidden boss Fuban, where it's revealed that the place you defeated it was a very wealthy kingdom, known as the Buddhist land of gold. Buddhism's popularity led to a decline in the king's authority. Then he banished the monks and renamed the country to Sahali. Soon after, the kingdom was attacked by a giant beetle, Fuban, leaving countless dead. Interestingly, a yellow-haired monk who defeated it, then favored by the king. In another portrait of the red governor, we learn that following this, the rodent reverence edict was proclaimed. Afterwards, red Yaoguai plagued Sahali. The story continues in Portrait of Lingji, which mentions that in the current timeline, everyone in the kingdom has turned into rats. The Yellow Wind Sage said it was a calamity he brought upon and left. It's also hinted that the Buddha head on the giant beetle seems similar to the one Yellow Wind Sage has. To meet this giant beetle, it actually transports us back in time to witness the events. We need to complete a series of tasks given by a mysterious boar guai known as the Yellow Rabbit Guai. From his portrait, we learn that he is the second known figure working for Big Brother, whom we will discuss in later chapters. He also mentioned that in the timeline of original story, Wukong was no match for the Yellow Wind Sage. In the TV adaptation, Wukong almost went blind, but his good brother Bajie found him and took him to get his eyes treated. In the end, it was through the use of Lingji's Wind Tamer that they were able to defeat Yellow Wind Sage. After you get the Wind Tamer and defeat the Yellow Wind Sage, the score that follows the animation will reveal that Lingji has developed worldly desires. It also suggests that the giant beetle might just be the mount of some high above. This is hinting that the giant beetle was sent by Lingji because the king of Sahali wanted to ban Buddhism. Lingji hoped that by having his subordinate, Yellow Wind Sage, defeat the giant beetle, he could regain the faith of the nation. However, things didn't go as planned. Yellow Wind Sage gained some power and was revealed as a red god, leading the country to worship red Yaoguai instead. His portrait shows that it was arranged by Celestial Palace for him to take Wukong's relic, so we can assume that after he got Wukong's relic, he felt empowered. Due to his resentment towards Lingji, he made Lingji Headless monk.
Besides every sage, a villain resides.
His line goes, besides every sage, a villain resides. This, in a manner of speaking, a reflection of the traditional Chinese philosophy, yin and yang, which emphasizes that nothing is 100% black or white. This chapter also centers on how evil is incited. Even a bodhisattva can succumb to harmful worldly desires. As in his banjo, the lyrics reference the theory of karma, indicating his awareness that becoming a headless monk was the direct result of his own wrongful actions. Another noticeable thing is Lingji's eyes is always closed. It's like he's only using the ears. The relic we get is also an ancient instrument. This chapter's title is also Deaf. This may hint that he was so deaf and blind, which led to his betrayal by his subordinates. On another level, it also hints to players about the importance of listening to sounds during boss fights, such as with the Tiger Vanguard, who has stopped many players. And the animation of Chapter 2. The music you hear now is played by the same instrument as that of the relic. This animation draws from classic folklore in various ancient Chinese novels. In ancient Chinese culture, the fox symbolizes cunning and allure, often representing seduction and trap. My understanding of how this animation relates to Chapter 2 aims to reveal who the real schemer is, similar to the situation with Headless Monk and Yellow Wind Sage. This animation also strongly ties into Chapter 3, and we will continue to talk about it after the animation of Chapter 3. From the ending of the animation, we can also see that this is a snowy place, and there are no seasons of spring, summer, or fall here, only winter. The other seasons only exist in his dream, which means he lives in the New West, the place we are heading. Let's first clarify the key character relationships in Chapter 3. There are Buddha Rulai, representing the present, Buddha Mile, representing the future. In the score following Chapter 1's animation mentioned that, in Tangsen's last life, he was Jing Chanzi, the second disciple of Buddha in the West, which is Rulai. Due to disobedience, Rulai cast him down to the mortal realm. Mile has an assistant named Yellowbrow. In the game's timeline, Yellowbrow once again steals Mile's magical treasure and impersonates him in the New West, leading people astray with his deceit. Why once again will be explained later. We will discuss the ending animation first for this chapter, as it sets the earliest timeline and has strong connections to the previous chapter. In this timeline, Yellowbrow turned into a soft-shell turtle Yaoguai. His long eyebrows in the animation confirm that this is indeed Yellowbrow. Although he appears to be doing good things, in fact, he was just doing a social experiment, exploiting human greed to lure people towards evil. For example, while he gathered fish by lifting seawater, he destroyed fishermen's boats, took away the tool that villagers used for feed themselves. On the surface, the village appears to prosper, yet the amount of poor people remains unchanged. The wealth gap has clearly widened, with only a selected few who worship him becoming wealthy. The poor, lacking any means to support themselves, are forced to live on the scant rations distributed under the rules set by the elite. When a desperate poor man on the verge of mental breakdown, Yellowbrow was delighted, his eyes gleaming as he intensifies the tension. invisible hands pushing this man towards evil, triggering a domino effect that ultimately leads to the village's doom. At the story's end, it is revealed that all Yellowbrow's actions were meant to prove to Jing Chanzi his belief that human nature is inherently evil, that people are greedy and beyond redemption.
You tarried in the mortal world for a good while, didn't you?
Despite being battered himself, he is capable of reincarnation, yet he chose to leave behind disasters in mortal realm, just to prove his point.
Once again, I proved it to you, Jin Chanzi.
You chose a means to an end, not to a proof. You sow chaos in hearts just for the sake of winning. How absurd and pathetic.
If not for winning, why debate over means and ends?
Jing Chanzi accused him of causing chaos and reversing cause and effect. I found an English idiom, putting the cart before the horse. I'm not very sure if this is appropriate here. My understanding of this is you cannot cherry picking to prove a point. For instance, you cannot hire an attractive person to tempt your partner as proof of their disloyalty. And you cannot prove that humans are inherently greedy by simply offering like $1 million. I introduced this animation at the beginning to provide insight into Yellowbrow's personality, which helps in understanding the events in the current timeline. Additionally, it allows us to complete the story from Chapter 2's animation. In that chapter, the man was actually tricked by Yellowbrow in his dream, lured into the kill. This manipulation is a typical thing that Yellowbrow does. The man later becomes his chief disciple, known as Non-Void.
Men, beasts, Buddhas, guais. Each of them bears a distinct root from birth, superior and inferior. None should disturb what's decided. Am I right, Sun Wukong?
And the narrator asks Wukong in a sinister voice, is he right? I feel this is a link between Chapter 2 and 3. It brings back Chapter 2 stories, where the guais are inherently 100% evil, and Buddhas are 100% good. It also connects to Chapter 3's animation, questioning whether different social classes should be bound by certain limits. Let's go back to Chapter 3. Yellowbrow is a very evil character, fiercely competitive and unscrupulous. He always wants to outdo Jing Chanzi, which is why in this chapter you met his 4 chief disciples: 不空, 不能, 不净, 不白. These names are antonyms of Jing Chanzi's reincarnation Tangsen's 4 disciples: Wukong, Wu Neng, Wu Jing, and the white-loom horse. The choice of names and the contrasting personalities highlight the extent of Yellowbrow's inner distortion. And of course, you can avenge the fox from Chapter 2 animation. The man in that animation is Wukong, non-void.
Kneel before the Buddha of the future.
Let's go back to the game's timeline. One thing I'd like to mention is that the temple on the iced lake is a tribute to the 1964 animation Havoc in Heaven, as well as the 1986 TV adaptation.
Kang Jinglong, now that you are ready, go and weigh up this one for your master. See if this monkey merits a place amongst my disciples.
Then, on this lake, you defeated the Yaoguai Queen Kang Jinglong and were captured to the Pagoda Realm. In this prison, you also encountered a tragic figure, the third prince, from the same nation you previously defeated the giant beetle. He is one of the king's sons, who left there because he doesn't agree with his father's rodent reverence edict. This gives us a glimpse of that nation's people's appearances before they turned into red Yaoguai. The third prince came here this time is to investigate Yellowbrow, but ended up imprisoned. He had 4 captains: Lotus Vision, Wise Voice, Kalpa Wave, Void Illusion. They either were killed or were beguiled by Yellowbrow. The relationship between him and his master and Buddha Miller remains a mystery, which we won't dive into here.
Our reunion is destined, and so is my role to teach you this little trick.
After escaping from Pagoda Rim, you meet the backpacker carrying a huge gourd again, who teaches you a little trick called the Ring of Fire, which also appears in the TV adaptation.
It shall help you in need, be it injury, weariness, or frostbite. Beast or Yaoguai, none shall dare to draw nigh.
And then you skied for a few seconds with only one pole. You saw a woman named Kang Jing Star. She is the Kang Jinglong whom you had defeated earlier on the iced lake. She wasn't always evil. Her mind was corrupted after being taken into Yellowbrow's sack. Before the fight, a pair of huge cymbals struck by someone, and then you realize that you are on the back of a gigantic turtle.
Still, though, you'll never crack the gold symbol.
After defeating her, your bro Bajie was rescued from the huge symbols, and Bajie's in-game appearance matches the original book, a black pig. Kang Jinlong's appearance is different from the TV adaptation, but the original text never mentions Kang Jing's gender. If you idle for a while in this chapter, Bajie will tell you 3 stories, but here I'll only mention the part related to this chapter.
What took you so long? Constipation? I was nearly cooked alive in there. An old monkey showed up and told me to throw my support behind a destined one. He said the destined one is supposed to be the key to bringing Wukong back. You! The key! You're no match for even one strand of his hair! I'm wise enough not to believe that Wukong is truly dead. Did you ever hear the story of Yellowbrow? He used to be a measly altar boy to Maitreya in the east. Stole his master's vessel to gain great power in the mortal realm. When we journeyed to the New West and his new thunderclap temple, our master strolled in and knelt right into a trap. Yellowbrow tried to slaughter us all and take on the journey in our stead. That's never changed, even after all these years. Wukong got trapped in the gold symbols there, just as I did. He was saved when Kang Jinglong broke the symbols with her ankler. To think that she has sided with Yellowbrow himself. How odd. You don't think he's gotten his hands on some mind-twisting vessels, do you? Speaking of which, the most powerful thing Yellowbrow has should be the seed sack. The celestial deities above, the turtle and snake generals under Shen Wu, and the third prince with his 4 captains, sent by the Bodhisattva Guoshiwang. Once that wicked sack opened up, they were all devoured. Just as Wukong was losing his wits, Maitreya himself appeared. What were the chances? That pot-bellied monk came right as we were all out of options. With his master present, Yellowbrow soon met his defeat. But I don't think he ever truly gave up. He's always had it in for Wukong for wrecking his plans. Great, another mute. Whatever. Let's not dally. Now the turtle and I have shared a few tales. My old friend! You must have had it rough all these years in this shithole! Rest easy! Once we're ashore, I'll take down that blasted temple to avenge you and Brother Snake! I hear you! Dead or alive, all suffer the same. You'd be better off staying a stone. Come on, cut the whips and wines, will you? You're too old for those! Yes, stop the sobbing! Stay here and wait. I'll check on your snake, pal.
About Turtle and Snake General, they came here to fight Yellowbrow. But Turtle, entangled by a 10-tailed golden fish, one of Wukong's relics, released by Yellowbrow, and a strange beast with a gilded body and a Buddha's head to combat the snake. Yellowbrow cast a spell that turned the New West into winter. Despite their immortality, Turtle and the Snake were bound by their natural instincts to hibernate in the cold. When Turtle General closed his eyes by then, the last thing he saw was Snake General unable to escape the frost and icy blades, being cut into several chunks on the shore. After we defeated the beast with the gilded body and Buddha's head, Turtle General shed tears. You can pick them up from the shore.
One more familiar face. Are all my old friends in Yellowbrow's clutches It's been a lifetime, old bones. The temper's grown fiercer.
I might as well die. No chance at immortality. And forced to suffer your torment. This old log can hardly move a muscle as he is. Only one of Shudong.
Not far from the turtle, there is another interesting character, Chen Long, an aged long who ends up pleading for a magical pill from Xu Dog as compensation after you beat the shit out of him. After you provide the magical pill, he was so pleased and gives you a score that for the Zodiac Village. Through the portraits of Chen Long, Yin Tiger, Shen Monkey, and Xu Dog, we learn that they once worked in the Celestial Palace and were banished to the mortal realm because of the Great Sage's affair. For players not familiar with the original story and the characters' nicknames, the Great Sage refers to Wukong. From their stories that we know they probably were friends of Wukong. In the score at the end of this chapter and in Tiger's lines, it's clear that they are zodiac deities, akin to the Chinese zodiac concept. Chen Long's portrait also mentions that the sacred divinity sent them this score, but they are unsure of the intent. After deliberation, they decide to wait for the destined one, the player. This sacred divinity refers to Erlang, the guy who fought Wukong in the opening. This is a nickname for him. This gives you a significant mystery, which we will explore further in Chapter 6. This score also greatly benefits the gameplay by acting like a safe house. Your nutritionist Xu Dog, your bartender Shen Monkey, your sparring partner Yin Tiger, and your grandpa Chen Long. Every time you finish talking to the aged loom, he asks like a grandparent.
Leaving so soon? Do visit from time to time.
These are my favorite characters in the game. They're like your best friends, your family, always ready to help. Even when they don't possess real power or impressive spells. And the reinvention of the story enriches Wukong's personality, showing his close friends as beings who, despite their immortality, appear quite ordinary and real.
Foolhardy, nothing more. I've done as our brother asked. Till we meet again.
This chapter also features an important hidden character, the green-capped martialist, who is the third person you meet working for the Big Brother. Pay attention to his feet and the image in his portrait. By now, those familiar with the original text might already know that this Big Brother they refer to is a sacred divinity, Erlang, as he is described in the original text as having 5 bros: snake, pig, goat, centipede, and bull. It is revealed in this chapter, as indicated by Chen Long's portrait, that these hidden missions all seem to be planned by Erlang.
Your faith has led you here. Rest easy. You won't find those noisy chantings and pain screamings here. It's better than you think. Sun Wukong used it to trick that disciple of mine.
Moreover, after defeating the green-capped martialist, the real Buddha Miller teaches you the Spellbinder, and mentions that in the original timeline, Wukong also used this to defeat Yellowbrow. This event also takes place in a watermelon field in the TV adaptation. Buddha Miller then mentions a place called the Great Pagoda, which is not the pagoda realm that we were captured in. This might confuse players who have not yet distinguished between the fake Miller acted by Yellowbrow and the real Buddha Miller. When you finally find this hidden Great Pagoda, you only find mirrors on the walls, the same as the score of the end of each chapter. This hints us we should return here later.
keep fighting for others, and in time, you shall fall by their hands. I, Yellowbrow, fight solely for myself. Lost. I will not lose. If only I could wield that monkey's relic just once more.
This rogue stole my seed sack and fled here. With Wukong's relic, he made it a soul-snatching vessel. He also took my look and my name to trick his old foes into vengeance.
You potbelly! I should have figured out it was you.
Forgive my little deception.
Stolen once, I buy it. Stolen twice, I doubt it.
After you defeat Yellowbrow, Bajie hits Buddha Miller's head. In Chinese dub, Bajie said that even a pig wouldn't believe it's been stolen again. The relic you get this time is an example of how translation can miss the essence of the original meaning. The Chinese phrase 气味相投 literally means similar in scent, metaphorically describing people who share similar thoughts, styles, or are like-minded. Moreover, the phrase, particularly the element 气味 scent, relates to smell, and the relic itself is about the sense of smell, cleverly linking the literal and metaphorical meanings of the phrase to emphasize the connection between characters. And I strongly believe this relates to the relationship between Wukong and Bajie. In the original timeline, Bajie called 28 high aboves he knew to save Wukong from the huge symbols. This time, he himself was captured while seeking Wukong's relic. Another hidden detail is that Buddha Miller used Bajie's rake, not your pole, to fish up the relic. This shows part of Wukong still recognized Bajie's scent. And the title of this chapter is Fart, which literally means just that. It's similar to bullshit, a term Yellowbrow uses frequently. The relic focuses on the sense of smell. Why someone used the sense of smell to detect the fart? My understanding, this is a satire, indicating that Yellowbrow stinks. Okay, that's all about chapter 1 to 3. This is the first part. See you in part 2. Thanks for watching.
Leaving so soon? Do visit from time to time.